Hi, kindergarten. All right, this is your review lesson for this week. I'm going to warn you, we're going to do a lot, okay? We're going to do a lot of reviewing. So, you're going to need your dry erase board or a piece of paper. And if you're using your dry erase board, make sure you have your dry erase marker. If you're using a piece of paper, make sure you have a pencil, okay? Let's try to get used to working with pencil. So, you can use a piece of paper with lines on it if you have one, or you can just use any piece of paper. It doesn't have to have lines on it, okay? And you're also gonna need your 10 frame piece of paper. Now, if you don't have this, you can always just draw a 10 frame, right? Like I did. I just used this board and a marker and I drew a 10 frame. So it's just a rectangle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little squares in it, or 10 rectangles in it, okay? And if you really want this, you can print it off of Jupiter Ed too. I think it's on last week's folder. It's in last week's folder for Jupiter Ed. So you'll need a marker in your board or a pencil and paper. You'll need your 10 frame, and you're going to need 10 teddy bear counters or 10 blocks. You could use 10 Legos. You could use 10 pennies. You can use really 10 of anything that'll fit in your 10 frame. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And if you need a couple minutes to gather all the things you need, you can just press pause and then gather everything you need and then press play again when you're ready. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do before we work with our math, let's go over all the letters we've learned so far. All of them. You know, we only have a few letters left to learn. We've done most of the letters, which is really exciting. Okay, so, and these letters are in no particular order. They're totally random. So I'm going to show you a card with the letter on it, and I'm going to say it first, then I'm going to show you echo, and then you echo back what I said. You repeat what I said. Okay, you ready? We're going to do a lot. Okay, S, snake, S. You ready? Your turn. S, snake, S. Very good. All right, next one. I know D's and B's are really similar. They're kind of tricky, but look, this is a picture of a dog. And we know duh makes a D sound, or D makes a duh sound. So this is a D, right? Uppercase and lowercase d. All right, my turn first, then your turn. D, dog, duh. Now your turn. D, dog, duh. Wonderful. And here's the first letter in our alphabet. A, apple, ah. Now your turn. Nice. Okay, this one can be a little bit tricky because sometimes G makes a J sound like J, but usually G makes a G sound like game. So we're going to say G, game, G. Okay, your turn. Nice. Echo says, good job. All right, and then we've got our O. And remember, when you make an O sound, your mouth is kind of in the shape of an O. That can help you remember. So we say O, octopus, ah. You ready? Your turn. Very good. And this one is our letter C. I know some of us kind of get confused about letter C too, because sometimes letter C makes a S sound like S, but most of the time C makes a K sound like cat. So let's really try to remember C, cat, K. Okay, your turn. Very nice. All right. L, lamp, L. You ready? Your turn. Very good. And K makes the same sound as C. They both make a K K sound, right? Now sometimes C will make a S sound, but usually it makes a K sound like cat. But K always makes a K sound like kite. So we say K, kite, K. Your turn. Wonderful. Hi, Miss Blake. It's fine. All right, let's go over H. We haven't done H in a while. You ready? So we say H, hat, ha. You ready? Nice. Okay. And I think everybody knows this one. Y'all are really good with this letter. So for T, we say T, top, ta. Okay, your turn. Here's Echo. Wonderful. And here we've got, man, we're doing so many. Okay, B, bat, ba. Ready? Nice. Only a couple more. So for this one, we say, oops, there's some sticky tack on there. We say F, fun, F, fun. Ready? Here we go. Nice. And for in, we say in, nut, n. Ready? Your turn. Good. Okay, and then let's review our scrunchy nose letter. So when we say this letter, your nose kind of makes a scrunchy now. It kind of gets all scrunchy. This is the letter I, and I. See when you make the I sound that I makes? So this monkey, monkey, that doesn't start with an I, but what's the monkey doing? The monkey is itching. So for I, we say I, itch, I. You ready? Your turn. Nice. This one's tricky. This next one's real tricky. So this is the letter U. I know, it's really hard to remember that U makes an sound like up. A lot of times, y'all think U makes a y sound, but it doesn't make a y sound. Y is the one that makes a y sound. You gotta remember, U makes an sound like up. The arrow's pointing up. Or you can remember, like, if you have a little brother or sister, an older brother or sister, or maybe a friend that you've been playing with a long time, and they do something that kind of bothers you, and you go, that's a U sound. So we say U, up, Your turn. Nice. All right, and for this one, this is our letter M, and we say M, man, See how your lips are together? They're pretty much closed. You're kind of making a sound like you just ate something really yummy and you go, So M, man, All right, here you go. Very good. This is another really tricky one. This is the letter E. E makes an sound, like Ed, the name Ed, It's really hard to get the three letters A, I, and E straight because A makes an sound, but look, my mouth is it's really open, kind of like I'm screaming when I say the A sound, And then when I say the I sound, my nose gets a little scrunchy, for I. But E is kind of in between. We say E, Ed, All right, your turn. Nice. So A is E is and I is I. Okay, let's try to get those straight. I know those are hard though. All right, we've got R, rat, r. You ready? Very good. Only 2 more. Y'all are doing great. This is one of our new letters we learned this week. It's P, pan, pa. Okay, ready? P. Nice. And last one we're going to practice. J, letter J. J makes a j sound like jug. So we say J, jug, j. Your turn. Nice. Okay, let's practice writing just the 2 letters we learned this week. Don't worry, we're not going to practice writing all of them. We're just going to practice P and J. Okay? All right, let's do our markers and boards, or you can work on pencil and paper. That's fine too. It's whatever you've got with you at home. Okay, so first, let's do our P's first, and let's do uppercase P and then lowercase p. All right, so uppercase P goes all the way from the skyline straight down to the grass line. There's our uppercase P, how we start it. Then you're going to start right where you first started on the skyline, and you're going to curve around down to the grass line. Oh, the plain line, dotted plain line. Let's do another one. We're going to start at the skyline and go straight on down to the grass line. Then we're going to start again on the skyline and curve around down to the plain line. So make sure you don't go below the grass line. Make sure you don't go above the skyline. And make sure this curvy part here is between the skyline and the plain line right there. Okay? All right, let's work on some lowercase p's now. Let's do 2 lowercase p's. So lowercase p looks pretty much exactly the same as uppercase p, except it's in different lines. We get to go down to the worm line. So uppercase p is between skyline and grass line. Lowercase p is between plain line and worm line. So we just have to shift it down. All right, let's do some lowercase p's. We're going to start on the plain line, and we go straight on down to the worm line. Then you start on the plain line again where you started, and you curve around down to the grass line. And there's lowercase p. Looks a lot like uppercase p, it's just lower. It's just in different lines. Let's practice another one. We're going to start on the plain line, go straight down to the worm line. Then we're going to start on the plain line again and curve around down to the grass line. So here's uppercase P, here's lowercase p, but they both make the same sound. They both make a pa, pa sound, like pa, pa, pan. Okay, let's erase those p's, and now we're going to practice our j's. Okay, let's practice J now. So uppercase J has a straight line on top and then the curve down that kind of looks like a hook. Lowercase j, it doesn't have a straight line on top. It has a dot on top, and then its little hook curves all the way down to the worm line. Oh, all right, let's work on uppercase J first. So uppercase J, we start on the skyline, and we go down to the grass line, and then give it a little curve. Then we start on the skyline, and we give it a little top, a little line on the skyline. And that's uppercase J, makes a j, j sound, like jug. Let's do another uppercase J. We start on the skyline, and we go down to the grass line and then give it a little curve. Then we start on the skyline, and we draw a straight line on the skyline to give it a little top. And that's uppercase J. So now let's work on lowercase j. Lowercase j looks a little different. It doesn't have that line on top. It has a little dot. And look, it goes lower, right? So it's in different lines. All right, so lowercase j, we start on the plain line. We're going to go down to the worm line. You ready? Go all the way past the grass line to the worm line, and then give it a little curve. Then we need the dot. We need that dot. And the dot is just somewhere in between the skyline and the plain line, right about in the middle. And there's lowercase j. Let's try lowercase j again. Put your marker or your pencil on the plain line, then go down past the grass line and go down to the worm line. And then give it a little curve. Whoops. Put that back in. All right. Then we need our little dot. We're not quite done, so let's give it a little dot in between the skyline and the plain line. And there's our lowercase j. All right, so they both make a j sound like jug. We are done with our letter part, but remember I said we're going to be doing a lot of reviewing today. Now we're going to review our numbers, okay? So let's erase the boards, or if you were working on paper, you might need a new piece of paper if you filled up your paper. And remember, you're going to need your 10-frame card for math, or if you don't have a 10-frame card, you can just kind of do what I did and draw one. You could just draw a rectangle and make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 little squares in here, 10 little rectangles in it. Okay, so let's practice some of the numbers we've learned. Let's just start at 1 and go all the way to 10, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a 10 frame, we're gonna put the number in the 10 frame, and we're gonna write it. Okay, so we're gonna do 2 things for each number, but it won't take very long, don't worry. So y'all are really good at writing those numbers. So first number 1. We're going to put 1 teddy bear counter, or 1 block, or 1 penny, or 1 Lego, or anything you want that's 1 in our 10 frame. I'm going to use a marker just to draw a little dot, because that's easiest because I'm working on my board. And then we're going to write a number 1. Number 1 is just skyline to grass line. That's it! Number 1 is so easy, isn't it? And this is what 1 of something looks like. How many empty boxes are there left with number 1? There's a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 empty boxes left when there's just 1 of something. Okay, let's go ahead and erase that 1. And what number comes next? 2. Okay, so put 2 of something in your 10 frame. 1, 2. So now we've got 2 of something in our 10 frame. How many empty boxes are left? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 empty boxes left when we have 2 in our 10 frame. All right, now let's review. Let's practice writing the number 2. Number 2 can be kind of tricky. So for number 2, we're going to start a little bit below the skyline. We're going to go up to the skyline, down to the grass line, and then slide over. And that's our number 2. Let's try number 2 again, because those can be kind of tricky. You're going to start a little bit below the skyline. You're going to go up to the skyline, down to the grass line, and then slide over. And that's our number 2. Okay, now let's work on number 3. So let's erase my 2's. Keeps coming down. There. All right, we're starting over. So now number 3. Let's put 3 of something in our 10 frame. Ready? So 1, 2, 3. So this is what 3 of something looks like. Let's see how many empty boxes are left over when we have 3 of something. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 empty boxes left over when we have 3 of something. All right, now let's practice writing the number 3. So for number 3, we're going to start kind of around the skyline, a little bit below maybe, and we're going to curve around to the plane line. It kind of looks like a backwards letter C, doesn't it? And then we're going to curve around again to the grass line. So it looks like 2 backwards C's stacked on top of each other, doesn't it? Okay, let's try a number 3 again. We're going to start around the skyline, and we're going to curve down to the plane line, and then curve down again to the grass line. And that's number 3. Okay, let's erase and let's start over. Let's get ready for number 4. Number 4 is next. Move this out just a little bit there. Okay, number 4. Let's put 4 of something in your 10 frame. Remember, you can use teddy bear counters, you can use blocks, Legos, pennies, anything you want that you have a lot of. Okay, let's see. We're doing number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is what 4 of something looks like. Let's see how many empty boxes are left when we're working with number 4. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 empty boxes left when we have 4 filled in. Now let's work on writing number 4. So for number 4, we start at the skyline. We go down to the plane line and then slide over. Then we start on the skyline again and we go straight down to the grass line. Let's do one more. We start on the skyline and we go straight down to the plane line and slide over. Then we start on the skyline again and we go all the way down to the grass line. And that's number 4. Okay, next is number 5. Next is 5. Okay, I'm going to erase my board and get ready for number 5. Okay, for number 5, let's put 5 of something in our 10 frame. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, look at that. My whole top row of the 10 frame is filled in with 5. And then the whole bottom row of the 10 frame is empty with 5. So look, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 filled in, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empty. Whoa! So with a 10 frame, with 5 filled in and 5 empty, that's half of it, right? The same number is filled in as the same number is empty. So half is filled in with number 5. Okay, let's work on writing number 5. Let's do a couple of them because 5s can be kind of tricky. But we've got that little rhyme to help us remember how to write number 5 and make it a little bit less tricky. So for number 5, we start at the top, we go back, down, and around. So let's look. When we start at the top, we're starting on the skyline, and we go slide back on the skyline. We go down to the plane line, and then we go around to the grass line. And the grass line part kind of looks like a backwards number C. The bottom kind of looks like a backwards number C, right? That might help you remember a little bit. So let's try another one for number 5. We start at the top, we slide back, down, and around. Let's do one more to make sure we've got it. We start at the top, we go back, down, and around. And that's how we do our number 5. And if you're having trouble with number 5, you can always pause the video and keep practicing, right? That's the good thing about these review lessons on Fridays that I record. You can always pause them and go at your own pace if I'm going too fast. Okay, so I'm going to erase these 5s. And what number comes next? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do 6 next. All right, let's put 6 of something in our 10 frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 boxes in our 10 frames filled up. Let's see how many are left over. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 6 boxes filled in and 4 empty boxes. Let's practice writing number 6. Number 6, we start at the skyline and we curve all the way down to the grass line and then don't stop. Keep curving back over to the plane line. And that's our number 6. So let's try it again. We're going to start at the skyline. It's kind of like we make a big capital C. So we curve around down to the grass line. Look, it's kind of like a big capital C, but then we keep going. We keep curving back to the plane line. And that's our number 6. Only a couple left because we've only done 7, I think. We've only gone to number 7. So we only have 1 left, right? So let's go ahead and erase these 6s. And we'll do number 7, and then we're all done. I think we do number 8 on Monday when we're back together. Okay. All right, so number 7. Let's put 7 of something in our 10 frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so when we have 7 boxes of our 10 frame filled in, how many left over do we have? We only have 3 left over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are filled in, and 1, 2, 3 are empty. Now let's practice writing our number 7. Y'all were great with number 7 yesterday when we practiced writing 7 yesterday. So for number 7, we start on the skyline and we slide forward and then down to the grass line. Some people do that line down to the grass line kind of diagonal, kind of slanting, like it's falling backwards. That's fine. Or you can do number 7s like this. Start on the skyline, slide over, and then go straight down. Really, either way you want to do a number 7 is just fine. I like doing number 7s kind of like this. I think they look maybe a little bit easier to read, a little bit easier to see that that's a number 7, but it's really up to you. Oh, this needs to go a little bit farther down. So let's try one more number 7. We start on the skyline, we slide over, and then I'm going to slant down to the grass line. And there's our number 7. All right, everybody, you did such a great job on this review lesson. I know this was a lot of work this morning. Y'all did wonderful, though. Really good practice. So we're going to go ahead and erase my number 7s. Make sure we're ready for the next time we use our boards if you're using your board. I'm going to erase my 10 frame. So if you were using some paper and pencil, you can go ahead and put your paper and pencil away. If you were using a marker and board, you can make sure your marker cap is back on nice and tight. You can make sure your board is erased and both your board and your marker are back in your foundations bag, and the foundations bag is Velcroed so we don't lose anything. Okay, nice work today, everybody. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye, kindergarten.